significant development has emerged in the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking scandal. Numerous court documents identifying associates of the notorious sex offender have been made public after New York Judge Loretta Preska ruled last month that documents pertaining to the cases could be unsealed. The unsealed documents are a part of a lawsuit filed by Epstein's victim, Virginia Giuffre, against Ghislaine Maxwell, who was Epstein's former girlfriend. 40 documents have been released as of now, and they reveal Epstein's connections with notable figures. The first tranche of documents run to nearly 950 pages and largely consist of already public material revealed over nearly 2 decades. The documents shed light on connections to former U.S. President Bill Clinton, Britain's Prince Andrew, billionaire hedge fund manager Glenn Dubin, chairman of Hyatt Hotels Thomas Pritzker, former Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz, and late French modeling agent Jean-Luc Brunel. Pop icon Michael Jackson and former U.S. President Donald Trump have also been mentioned in the documents. Epstein, known for his high-profile connections, died in 2019 while awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges. Although prior to his death, Epstein entered an out-of-court settlement. The larger web of his clients still remain a mystery, though. Well, even though some names are out which have taken the world by storm, the larger question remains as to who else knows of Epstein's crimes. Joining us at this point is Gautam Mukherjee, senior journalist. We also have Joyita Basu, editor of the Sunday Guardian, joining us live. Ambassador Pashupati Mukherjee, former diplomat, joins us live as well. Wing Commander Sudhakaran, defense expert, is also live with us on the program. Let me bring you in here. First, Gautam Mukherjee, on what you make of these latest sensational revelations on the Epstein scandal.
Well, the best mention in terms of the election era is probably Trump and Clinton, but a number of other people. Bill Gates has been mentioned. Prince Andrew, of course, settled out of court and is pretty much disgraced over it. So this is only the first tranche of documents, and they reveal nothing much that is not already known, but there will be more as the time goes on. So this will be, I think, quite prominent in the news. What Epstein was up to, besides the sex trafficking, is of great interest because he built a huge network of influentials on both sides of the Atlantic and possibly farther afield. And how does this benefit him, and what was he trying to do? He is associated with a hedge fund. His girlfriend, Maxwell, and her father were in the media business, the father in particular. And the father also came to a sticky end when his, doings with the pension funds and so on of his newspapers came to light, and he apparently committed suicide from his yacht. Ghislaine, is no stranger to controversy, both from the parental side as well as from the boyfriend side. So this is a pretty, if you like, unsavory bunch altogether. What was Epstein up to is something that we would like to know, because one is to procure and provide all these people to worthwhile, high-profile people. But why? That is yet to be known.
All right. Let me, in fact, take that straight across to Joyita Basu as well. Joyita, do these latest revelations, come as a surprise, or are they mostly the names that we knew, of course, earlier? Now, the bigger question, of course, is are there more files still in the woodworks? Are there more names which perhaps could tumble out as well in the days and weeks ahead?
Well, when you're looking at the names, of course, we all knew about Prince Andrew's case, but I think some names there were rumors about it, and some names have come out, say, for example, Bill Clinton's. But yes, when it comes to Donald Trump, the Trump supporters on social media, they are pointing out that Trump's mention is because everybody, when the people were asked, they said that no, we did not see Trump. So if the Democratic establishment was hoping to make this particular Epstein files to into a campaign point against, if ever Trump is nominated as the Republican presidential face. So I don't think that is going to work. But yes, I mean, some of the very notable names are, and very surprising names, I would say, someone like Stephen Hawking. You know, who would have thought that his name will come over there? But his name is there, and there is mention, and in fact, it has been creating quite a bit of a stir, I think, in Israel, because former Prime Minister Ehud, former late Prime Minister Ehud Barak's name has come. Okay, so it seems, you know, certain names that are very, very surprising, and along with that, what has happened is that there is another list which some people are saying fake. Now it has got several names, and it has got several names, meaning, I mean, half of Hollywood, half of the, even the Canadian Prime Minister's name is there. But possibility is that that's a fake list. We do not know as such, but there's some controversy over it. But yes, the names that have been mentioned, some of them were known, but along with that, some of the names are pretty surprising. I mean, who would have thought someone like Stephen Hawking would be involved in such activities? So you see, what is important is that, I mean, a lot of these people's, these big names, ugly faces are coming to the public. You know, their reputation stands absolutely destroyed. These people stand diminished. Not that people like Clinton and all, they are basically have been very controversial figures. But at the same time, now we have to see what kind of politics will be played on it, and whether more names come out or not. Whatever has come out, it's over 900 pages of document. It's a huge, and it's, at places it's quite detailed. We all have had a quick look at the documents. But the thing is, you see, let us see which way, and anything like this will ultimately all depend on political ramifications. We have to see in an election year in the US how this plays out in the hands of which party, because both Democrats are also neck deep in this particular Jeffrey Epstein scandal.
Right. Let me, in fact, take that straight across to Ambassador Bhashpati Mukherjee as well, on, what you make, Ambassador Mukherjee, of these revelations. What has shocked you the most in these latest files, or are they mostly what one was expecting, the names and the details that have tumbled out now and been made public, of course? And will there be any political ramifications of these names, of these revelations, particularly given the fact that it is an election year in the US?
But absolutely, Uday, some of the names were known earlier. Some names are very surprising. But what is most important is that if it is the name of a person, for example, who wishes to run for president of the United States, like Donald Trump, it certainly raises question marks, because it means that the presence of the name of such individuals in a list which is linked between money, politics, and sex trafficking would give the impression that therefore governance would be in the hands of those who could be influenced by factors other than pure reasons of governance. So therefore, I would say that the most damaging would be if Donald Trump's name is really in the list. The most damaging would be, for instance, if the reputation of Stephen Hawking is destroyed because his name is now on the list. Nobody cares about Prince Andrew. He is disgraced, and in any case, nobody in India, for example, is remotely interested in the British royal family. So it doesn't really matter. But yes, it matters if there are names of people who want to remain in politics, who want to, for instance, run for the most powerful post in the world, etc. Secondly, it raises a very troubling question that it would appear that in the West, this list unleashes a very unsavory mixture of big money, sex trafficking, immorality, if I may use this word, of the highest order, and the perception that it gives to the ordinary man or woman that the super rich and the super powerful in the West think that they can buy their way out of everything. So this does not behave well for a society which is used to lecturing developing countries, including India, on how to behave. They lecture us on morality, they lecture us on what we should do or we should not do, when it would appear that they really need to do a massive spring cleaning of their own cupboards, dirty linen, and throw it out. Because this is dirty linen of the most awful variety made public all over the world. And it also impacts, in a way, the countries to which these individuals belong to. For example, as I said, let's come to United States. If Trump is there and some other prominent Americans are there, and there are no Chinese names there, for instance, if there are no Russian names there, then these countries would say, well, United States of America, put your house in order. And that's how you're going to answer that. So this raises actually very, very troubling issues today. And I must say that I personally, like Joyita, was very surprised at some of the names there. I understand that the name of Elon Musk is also there in the original list. So that again is, I can't say it's very surprising because Elon Musk does have a certain reputation, but still to find his name in this particular list, yes, it was profoundly shocking for me.
What do you believe, Wing Commander Sudhakaran, will be the ramifications socially, politically, economically of these revelations, of these names that have tumbled out now, that have become public now? And what do you make of the fact that, the judge did decide, to allow these names to be made public, did allow that unsealed cover so far to be finally opened and put before the citizens of the United States?
Good evening, Uday. Sex scandals are rarely about sex. They're about power, they're about secrecy, and they're about abuse of trust. Not said by me, Michael Douglas said it. And how true, isn't it? The depth of Epstein's depravity is matched only by the extent of his enablers' shamelessness. That's where it has gone to. Epstein was convicted in 2008 for the first time. And when he was convicted, he was given a very lenient sentence for something as horrendous as this is. He was given access to his work. He even had his private jet. So much so, the 18-month sentence that he was supposed to serve, he got away with it within 13 months. And in that 13 months, he was emboldened. He did it over and over again and again and again and again. And in 2019, he was convicted again. And people say that he was fixed in the jail. He didn't commit a suicide. It was a gruesome murder. We wouldn't know about it. And that's why I started by saying sex scandals are rarely about sex. Probably people get excited too much because, they want something more from media, which they can't, and this is a legally they're consuming a stuff which, they all have their secret desires to do it. So there is an element of hypocrisy in it. Come to think of it, the systemic bias and the privilege. Look at what's happening in Delhi. The Chief Minister of Delhi said that I wouldn't take a bungalow. He lives in a bungalow more palatial than the Prime Minister. And today he skipped 3 ED summons. And me and you do that. We can't do it. So just because he's a politician, he can cry fox and he can escape the law. The Jharkhand CM has escaped it 7 times. Okay, now if the government of the day goes behind them, then it's witch hunting. So these people who are in power, they can have sex, they can be corrupt, they can do what they want, they can do turnarounds, they can have no morality whatsoever and still shamelessly plead to the public, and the public shamelessly still will vote. So that's the reality of the society that we live in. So what kind of morality are we talking about? What kind of legality are we talking about? The courts can open for terrorists at the midnight for 12 o'clock. Right? They can talk about justice for a terrorist, but there are scores of them, thousands of them, waiting for justice to be delivered for decades. and the courts just don't wink an eyelid. And they talk about morality. And, I hold them responsible too here. So if you look at the collective, the society as a whole, we are all somewhere responsible for this. We are victims of this as well as we are perpetrators of it. Because our silence is more shameless than the perpetrators themselves. That's all that I had to say to begin with in the subject.
Yes, okay, let me go back across now to, to Gautam Mukherjee on what's coming perhaps next, Gautam. Do you believe that there could be more names revealed as well in the days ahead? I believe this is just the first tranche of documents, which is 950 pages. There perhaps are going to be more tranches as well. Do you believe which will be revealed and released in the next few days ahead?
Some of it could come from the authorities when they release more documents. And some of it could come from young women who feel emboldened to come forward and accuse their molesters and sexual abusers. You see, the key thing here is most of the women who were procured were underage. And that is what makes it illegal on a double whammy. Because one is that you're procuring people for the purpose. The second is that they're 16 and 15 years old and there are prominent people involved with them. So I expect more and more like a Me Too movement coming out now afresh when, in fact, there's a second woman who's already come out. The first one, incidentally, who has occasioned the whole thing, was working in Mar-a-Lago, which is Trump's establishment in Florida, before she got involved with Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and was abused in their premises. So, it's not going to be that easy for Trump to get away with it, especially in election season. At the same time, proof in these matters is very long-winded and difficult. It needs to go to trial, but I think in terms of a media, trashing of images, this will be part and parcel. Will there be more? I'm certain there will be more.
Okay, let me take that to Joyita as well. There will be more names, is Gautam's prediction. There will be perhaps more names, more revelations, coming out. And also now one wonders as to how far the web really extended of Epstein. He is no more now. Do you believe, Joyita, perhaps there are some secrets of his which have gone with him to the grave?
Well, his web extended beyond the United States. Definitely it extended to the UK and to Israel as well, as a former Prime Minister of Israel has been named in the files. So, obviously, it's about, it is not even about national boundaries. It's about a particular set of people. It's about power. It's about money. And these are the people who think that they can get away literally at times with murder. And this is how it is, because what they have been doing in their, private moral life, this is not a question of, what kind of a private life they have. Here it's a crime because you were all kind of forcing, or young people, underage girls who are being forced into it. So that is where the I would say the boundary between private life and what is public, what should be made public or not, that is demolished. The minute you are talking about Bill Clinton being particularly interested in the young ones, and that is how the file mentions it, so automatically you are going to question about this whole thing about, we already know about what happened with the Monica Lewinsky's case. But apart from that, here is a man, the most powerful man in the United States, and he turns out to be a complete debauch. Okay, and then the part is that these are the same people who will be, I have to mention this, these are the same people who will be lecturing the rest of the world about the values of society, about life and this and that and so many other things. So the whole thing is a huge lesson to all politicians, all business people, all public figures, that first of all learn to be discreet. Number one. Number two, do not fly so high that you get caught in with people like Epstein. Okay, and the thing is, there is a limit to everything, and ultimately what people are witnessing, it's already sordid. And God knows who else will be named. I want to know those huge lists that is kind of doing the rounds of social media now, how many of them are actually involved in it or not. Because a whole lot of people, they are being unmasked, literally unmasked.
Do more names need to tumble out? Is it important that we get to know and the public gets to know more of these names, more of these identities, Joyita? Beg your pardon, Ambassador Mukherjee. And do you believe that is something that we can expect in the days and weeks ahead? Or do you believe a lot of the secrets, a lot of the nefarious dealings and murky, shady business of Epstein has unfortunately gone with him to the grave? There are some secrets which perhaps we will never hear because some individuals will stay silent forever now.
More names will tumble out, but what I would like to say is that it's very interesting that most of the names relate to people living in Anglo-Saxon societies, United States and UK. Because, if it was in parts of Europe where this kind of behavior is taken for granted, please let's not forget Silvio Berlusconi's parties, etc., with very young girls, all underage, etc., it only damaged him right at the very end. The United States, at the end of the day, is a conservative Protestant society, WASP. And these kind of scandals, if they are linked with presidential contenders, because when Clinton was found out, he was already in the White House. And yes, Lewinsky damaged him to an extent that at some point it also impacted his wife's reputation, because people said, why did she not divorce Clinton? So the point here is that it will have an impact on people who are linked to powerful posts and who want to run again for that powerful post. So for me, the most interesting is the possible impact on Donald Trump's presidential re-election and how much dirt his adversaries will try to dig out of this list. For me, the rest of the name is just a sleazeball. I'm not interested. I am interested only in its linkage with politics, real politics, and what's going to happen in the US presidential election. But I'm sure more names will come out of there, definitely. It will not be possible to keep them behind a paywall forever. Definitely it will come out of there.
Yes. Okay, what are the, Wing Commander Sudhakaran, before we wrap up, what are the lessons you believe can be drawn from this, the way this entire row has played out?
If you ask me for a joke, the lesson is, try to be discreet. And discreet, they are going to be more discreet. Is it going to end tomorrow? No, it is not going to end tomorrow. Because if crime ends, we are talking about a perfect, ideal, utopian world. That doesn't exist. Having said that, let me tell you something that we can keep talking about it. In another week's time, we will even forget. We will go on to another topic. People will move on. And then maybe next elections or something happens in the court, we may have a revisit in this topic. But nobody is concerned about this. There are far more sinister crimes that have been committed in this world. So, do we need to take a lesson out of this? I don't know. Unless and until the existing system of law enforcement and judiciary is completely overhauled. That will never be done as long as this fraudulent idea called democracy lives, and we don't have a better choice for electing people in power corridors. So it's kind of inevitable, not that I'm not a Democrat by nature, but then, the moment you talk about democracy, please understand we have to live in, democracy is founded on the principle of distrust. The moment distrust exists, all these things are bound to happen. There will be somebody stronger in the chair who's occupying in the day, and then he will play with the law enforcement agencies. So can we make the system more robust, more resilient, more truthful, more integral? Well, it's a utopian wish. I don't think that will happen. But then what we can draw is, we all need to understand one thing, that we need to pay. Sometimes in our life, everything will catch up. And we need to understand that if you have exploited someone, that act will catch up its own. That is the only thing that will probably take us forward in our life.
My thanks to all of our guests for joining us on this discussion.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.